Also done with sobre la indolencia. Now we will discuss the Philippines as century hence. Yes, Parinya. Parinya, your microphone is on. Akala ko may question siya. Wait lang I'm trying to fix itong aking sa laptop. Hello, naririnig po ba yung audio ko? Pa-confirm nga po, is my audio audible? Am I audible? Clear ba? Clear naman. Okay. Ayan, okay na siya. Okay, so for the discussion today, we will discuss the Philippines a century hence, and then the annotation of Jose Rizal with Antonio de Morga's book, Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. And if we still, well, we can also discuss the analysis of the letter to the young women of Malolos, maybe on our next meeting para may kasama yung Jose Rizal and Philippine nationalism. Our next meeting will be the last meeting. We don't have class next week. Okay, are you aware of that? We won't have classes next week because of the election day. That's May 12th. So our next meeting will be May 19, um, second quiz, and the discussion, last discussion before the final exam. Okay, so let's start with El Filibuster, no, sorry. With the Philippines a century hence. Wait, let me. Sorry I'm struggling sa Okay. Kindly give me a thumbs up if my screen is visible. Ayan, thank you. Okay, let's start with our discussion. Filipinas dentro de 100 años. The Philippines a century hence. It's an essay written by Philippine national hero Jose Rizal. So isa siya sa mga naisulat ni Jose Rizal. And this is about his prophecy, no, hinulaan niya what would happen to the Philippines after 100 years. So he made a forecast about the future of the country within 100 years. No, what would happen? What would be the relation of the Philippines to its colonizer, or are we going to have another colonizer? Okay. So Rizal felt that it was time to remind Spain that the circumstances that ushered in the French Revolution could have a telling effect for her. Her means the Spain in the Philippines. So this essay presents a radical prophecy of Rizal of how the Philippines would be through the century. And also, Rizal presented a clear idea of how our motherland, the Philippines, will end up centuries later. No? So, he proposed that our country will end up either in three ways. So, ano yung possible na maging future ni Philippines? What would possibly the future of the Philippines according to Jose Rizal? Okay? So, number one, according to Rizal, the Philippines will remain to be a colony of Spain, but will be in good terms with its captors, with the colonizer. So that's the first um, guess or prophecy of Jose Rizal, that we will still be a colony of the Spain, but we will maintain a good relationship with them. And the other one is that the Philippines will try to cut the ties of the Philippines, of our motherland, from its captors through violent means. So, kumbaga, magpupumiglas tayo sa kanila. We will try to cut ties with them in a violent way. Okay? So, maybe it's in a way of revolution, madugo, bloody revolution. The last thing, or the last prophecy is, lastly, that we will be colonized by another country. No? So this, no, great percentage of this, or big percentage of what Rizal's prophecy really happened. No? Maybe the first prophecy, I guess, will not happen, or did not happen, because we never had a good terms or good relationship with the colonizer. No? But the second and third one, no, possibly yun talaga ang hinula niya, at yun nga din ang nangyari. Our new colonizer now is not Spain, but we were sold to the Americans. No? So this essay, published in La Solidaridad, a fortnightly newspaper based in Madrid, and it was published between September 30, 1889, and February 1, 1890. So, ilang buwan din po siyang nakapublish doon sa pahayagan. Okay? So, how many months? Starts by analyzing the various causes of the miseries suffered by the Filipino people. So, inumpisahan niya yung kanyang essay, no, stating what are the possible cause, why are we suffering, no, the Filipino are suffering. So of course, number one, because of the implementation of the military policy of Spain. So we already have an idea how the Spain nor run our country, how the Spanish government rule our country. Oppressive. The Philippine population decreased dramatically because of this. Poverty became more rampant than ever. Mas maraming mahirap, okay? And the farmlands were left to wither. Why there's a lot of people who are poor? Because of the teachings of the church. uh, that it's better for you to um it is better for you to be poor than to be rich because it's easier for a poor man to enter heaven. I discussed that last time in ano La Indolencia, right? So that's why a lot of people experience poverty. Other than the reason that the Spaniards are stealing, no, or abusing the business of the Filipinos, another factor is the teachings of the church. And farmlands were left to wither. Why? Because instead of them cultivating and tilling their own land, no, they are rendering their hours, services for the government because of the Polo e-Servicio. So, napapabayaan na nila yung kanilang mga sakahan. Okay? So, their farmlands left untilled. No? Hindi na naalagaan. The family as a unit of society was neglected. And overall, every aspect of the life of the Filipino was retarded. When you say retarded, atrasado, medyo delay, no? Ang ating progress, ang ating buhay. Deterioration and disappearance of Filipino indigenous culture. Yes, we have our own culture. But when the Spaniards came to the Philippines, no, paunti-unting nasisira, nade-deteriorate yung ating culture. Okay? Because of course, they're trying to exercise their own culture, practice their own um, practices, their own way. When Spain came with the losing confidence in their past and their heritage, sword and the cross, it began the gradual destruction of the native Philippine culture, thinking that their own culture is, ang tawag dito, uh, way better than our culture. Because of this, the Filipinos started to become doubtful of their present life, eventually lost hope in the future and the preservation of their race. So, nawala ng kumpiyansa ang mga Pilipino. So, bumagsak din ang the Filipinos self-esteem, no, ay went down. Ayan. So, bumaba yung self-esteem ng mga Pilipino. They lose hope because of the status of their life or because of their way of life. No? Next is, these are the causes, okay, of their suffering. Passivity and submissiveness to the Spanish colonizers. Now, if that's the way they run the country, very oppressing, no, abusive, parang the people will think parang hindi ka naman lalaban. Sumunod ka na lang. No? Kasi if you will fight against them, dehado ka. You will be the subject of their violence. Okay? So people became passive and they choose to. just submit to the colonizer, because if you will try to disobey or to fight against them, no, you will experience um, abuse or violence in the hand of the Spanish government. So that's one of the most powerful forces that influence a culture of silence among the natives. That's where the Spanish friars. Okay? Ano pa magagawa mo? Wag ka nang pumalag, wag ka nang ano, 'di ba? 'Di ba nga ano, ang laging inilalagay sa isip ng mga Pilipino, friars always put in the mind of the Filipinos that you can't do this, you can't do that. Don't try to be like us. Don't try um to be in our position, or to be in equal of them, because you will never be in their position. So laging panliliit, no? The Especially the friars, they constantly belittle the Filipinos, the natives, no? So what would you say? What would you do? Nothing. Don't try. No? Because of the use of power or force, the Filipinos learned to submit themselves to the will of the foreigners. They are foreigners, of course. This is our land. They just came in the country, but they are the one who's running the country. So, ba't ka palalaban? No? Yan. But eventually, the natives realized that such oppression in the society by foreign colonizers must no longer be tolerated. No? So there was a time that the Filipinos became aware of their um, condition. Parang, teka lang, deserve pa ba natin to? Parang ganon. Do we deserve this kind of treatment? Keeping the people uneducated and ignorant had failed. Yeah. That's the reason why they don't want to Filipinos to access education, because we would become a threat to them, to the Spaniards. No? Once a Filipino became educated, once a native became educated, that Filipino would be a threat. No? Just like Rizal, diba? They don't want us to be educated because we will know that that the way they run the country is not supposedly the way, no, a colonizer should run the country. So, baka kasi maungusan natin sila, or we might overpower them if we will be educated. Okay? And for the new colonizer, which is Americans, that's what they gave us, education. If education um, was not granted to us by the Spaniards, that's what Americans gave us, education. They gave us access to it. So the national consciousness had still awakened, and great Filipino amidst, or minds rather, still emerged from the rubble. Okay, so nagkaroon ng kamalayan, nagkaroon ng kamulatan ang mga Pilipino. Keeping the people impoverished also came to no avail. So wala nang epekto yan. Okay? On the contrary, living a life of eternal destitution had allowed the Filipinos to act on the desire for a change in their way of life. So that's how it started, that the Filipinos um, became aware of their rights and fight for their rights and for their freedom. Okay? So, eto na, sabi nila, let's change our way of life. So, here, they started to fight against the oppressive rule of the Spaniards. They began to explore other horizons through which they could move towards progress, just like what the propagandists um, do. No? Yung mga native literate natin, yung mga Pilipino or natives na may pinag-aralan or may kakayahan mag-aral. Just like Jose Rizal, no, and other Filipinos. Okay? Exterminating the Filipino or the people as an alternative to hindering progress this did not work either. Hindi na umubra yung konti na lang or pinakonti yung ating numero. Ayan. The Filipino race was able to survive amidst wars and famine, gera, labanan, kagutuman, no? We are now able to survive all those things. Became even more numerous after such catastrophes. Pagkatapos ng maraming pinagdaanan ng Pilipino, yan pa kaya ang hindi niya kakayanin? There's a lot of things that the Filipino had experienced, no? Kumbaga ano pang hindi mo kakayanin, Pinoy? Ang dami mo ng pinagdaanan. Diba? To wipe out the nation altogether would require the sacrifice of thousands of Spanish soldiers. Yeah. Para daw tayo ay magapi, if the Spaniards wanted to put us down or to be successful against us, it will require them to sacrifice thousands of lives of their Spanish soldiers. Diba? Madami-dami ang kailangan mamatay pag gusto nilang matalo ang mga Pilipino eh. Okay? So, the key points here in this essay are the several issues that concern our country. It shows the abuse of human rights. Pinakita din po sa essay na ito ang kawalan ng karapatan ng mga Pilipino, lack of rights, or we have rights pero hindi lang ine-exercise, no? Then lack of freedom of speech. Obviously, when you express your opinion or your stand, no, mapag-iinitan ka pa ng gobyerno ng Espanya. Just like what happened to Rizal. Lack of representation in the Spanish Cortes. We don't have a representative uh, in the lawmaking body of the in Spain. No? Kasi if we have representative, no, we have voice. Okay? So that's the end of our first lesson. It's short, but I hope you understand the content of the essay of Jose Rizal. Did you follow Dash 3? Thank you. Okay, let's move to the next part of our lesson. The annotation of Rizal of the book Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. Yan. Wait lang ha. Well, I have two different PowerPoint for this. I'm just gonna upload my own PowerPoint. Um, Ayan. So, the one in Canvas, yun yung mas mahabang version, 'no, ng ating, the copy of the PowerPoint in this topic, annotation, in Canvas, that's the long version because, all the annotation of Jose Rizal was included there. But in my copy, shortened siya. So i-explain ko na lang today yung background niya, what's the meaning. Hello, naririnig po ba ako? Kasi nagkakaroon daw ng trouble in my internet. Okay na, okay yung audio ko. Nagno-notif kasi I have trouble in my internet daw. Ay, okay naman. Okay, thank you. Baka delay lang sa akin. Sige. Naku, ayaw ma-open ang file ko. Ayan, okay na. Is my screen visible? Ayan, okay. Medyo delay lang sa laptop. Okay, so Rizal's annotation of sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. I don't know if you can still remember, diba? He went to another country pa to study this book. He really tried his best to find the book, no, para sa kanyang pag-aaral for his studies and research. So, Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, that's a book originally written by Antonio de Morga, but he made annotation. When we say annotation, it's like a note or a short explanation regarding this book or the content of the book. No? Yeah. So he actually done his studies in London and went to Paris in Bibliothèque Nationale to continue his studies. He study regarding this book, no? So what is Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas? So it is one of the important works on the early history of the Spanish colonization of the Philippines. So this is published in Mexico in 1609 by Antonio de Morga. So it will speak about the early days of the Philippines observed by this missionary, no, Antonio de Morga. So this is annotated by Jose Rizal, and Dr. Ferdinand Blumentritt wrote the prologue of this book, okay, of this annotation. So when we talk about who is Antonio de Morga and why Jose Rizal chose his book, so Antonio de Morga is a Spanish conquistador, a government official, and a historical anthropologist. And he is the one who wrote the Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. In English, it means events in the Philippine Islands. No? He wrote the first lay formal history of the Philippines conquest by Spain. He had, when you say conquistador, it means conqueror, Spanish conqueror. So he has a doctorate in canon law and civil law. So academically, no, malawak ang pinag-aralan ni Antonio de Morga. So the book, Sucesos, it narrates the history of wars, intrigues, diplomacy, evangelization of the Philippines, how the Philippines were converted into Catholicism, um, in a somewhat disjointed way. Modern historians, including Rizal, have noted that Morga has a definite bias and would often distort facts. That's why, well, not all, no, but that's the reason why Rizal chose his book, because may ilang area lang or may ilang information is misinterpreted or disorganized po, no, pero still there is a reason why Jose Rizal chose his book, kasi out of all the kumbaga sa POV ng isang ng isang ah conquistador, no, kahit papaano less bias naman siya, na yung kay Antonio de Morga. So this is the book, Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, a very rare book. So kaya that's why Rizal has to go to London and find the book in a museum in Paris, no, because it's very rare. Para nga siya daw ano tawag dito? Ah what you call that? Naku, nawala sa isip ko. Sobrang rare niya, hindi pinapayagang ilabas sa library, no? That's the reason why Rizal had to copy the book handwritten, no? So Morga wrote the book, no, for the purpose that the sucesos was so he could chronicle it, his experience, his observation during the time that he was residing here in the Philippines. The deeds actually centered to the success or accomplishment of the Spaniards. The deeds achieved by our Spaniards, that's according to Morga. The discovery, the conquest, and the conversion of the Filipinas Islands, as well as various fortunes that they have from time to time in great kingdoms and among the pagan people surrounding the islands. So his purpose is to record or chronicle the achievement or the success of conquering the Philippine Islands. Taking issue with scopes of these claims, Rizal argued that the conversion and conquest is not as widespread as portrayed. So, baka kasi may misconception, like we thought that the whole country were conquered and converted. Hindi po, no? We were not, no? Not the whole Philippines, not the whole archipelago. Okay? That's one of the clarification of it. Okay? Rizal argued that the conversion and conquest were not as widespread as portrayed, because the missionaries were only successful in conquering a portion of the population of certain islands. That's why they cannot penetrate somewhere in Mindanao, 'di ba? Medyo laging Luzon pataas. Okay? So there are 8 chapters of the book, Sucesos. Chapter 1 contains Magellan and Legazpi's seminal expedition. So yung mga influential events or important events in their expeditions. And then chapter 2 to 7 tackles the chronological report on government administration under the governor general. And the last chapter of the book, which is speaks about or talks about the Philippine Islands, the natives there, their antiquity, their customs and traditions, and their governance or the government. So on the last part is about the Philippines and the observation of the Morga in this country. So what leads Jose Rizal to choose Sucesos? Rizal was an earnest seeker of truth, and this marked him as a historian. He had a burning desire to know exactly the condition of the Philippines when the Spaniards came ashore to the islands, where he wasn't able to do that kasi hindi pa naman siya pinanganak nung panahon na yon, no? So he really needs this kind of books to know of the events happened during the time of uh, the conquer of the Philippines. His history, or his theory rather, was that the country was economically self-sufficient and prosperous. Mayaman naman daw ang bansa natin before, but entertained the idea that it had lively and vigorous community. He believed that the conquest of the Spaniards contributed in part to the decline of the Philippines' rich tradition and culture. Yan, paulit-ulit no na ine-expect talaga at in the mind of Jose Rizal, the reason why Filipinos are lazy, the reason why our economy is down, the reason or the economical activities are down, the reason why the Philippines became worse, it's because when the Spaniards came to the Philippines with their conquest. No? So, laging pinopoint back niya sa ginawa ng mga Kastila sa atin. He decided to undertake the annotation of Antonio de Morga's Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas because, of course, Antonio de Morga is the early Spaniards or conquistador nga that observed the events in the Philippines. And that's what he needed in his study. No? He needs a foundation or basis. No? And if there are misconceptions, that's where Rizal um, come to the scene and then corrected all the errors. No? His personal friendship with Ferdinand Blumentritt provided the inspiration for doing a new edition of Antonio de Morga's Sucesos. He devoted himself for 4 months of this research, writing and almost a year to get his manuscript published in Paris in January 1890. It took him almost a year because he had to write it, copy it, annotate it. So parang he doubled the book, the pages of the book. Uh, He spent his entire life to stay in the city of London at British Museum reading book. Okay? And when he went to Paris, he tried to find the book in the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris. Having found Morga's book, he laboriously hand copied the whole 351 pages of the Sucesos. Imagine the effort of Jose Rizal. Tayo nga yung isusulat sa board, kinakatamaran na nating isulat, eh, 'di ba? Bakit mo pa picturean mo na lang. Eh, during that time, you cannot take picture of it. Wala pa. You really have to hand copy that. Rizal proceeded to annotate every chapter of the suceso. So imagine 351 and then you try to annotate every chapter, each chapter. So you will really double the page of the book. Yeah. So his extensive annotations of Morga's work, no less than 639 items or almost 2 annotations for every page. Tiyaga ni Rizal. That's how Rizal was hardworking. Uh, Rizal also annotated Morga's typographical errors. Okay? For example, he commented on every statement that could be a nuance in Filipino cultural practices. There was an example on page 248 when De Morga describes the culinary art of the ancient Filipinos by recording, Filipinos daw, we Filipinos, we prefer to eat salt fish which begin to decompose and smell. So kumakain daw tayo ng saltfish na malapit ng masira or mabaho na. So what Rizal did, he wrote an annotation, Rizal's footnotes. This is another preoccupation of the Spaniards who, like any other nation in that matter of food, loathe that to which they are not accustomed or is unknown to them. Yung fish daw na tinutukoy dito ay hindi sira. The fish that Morga mentions that not does not taste better when it is beginning to rot. All on the contrary, it is bagoong. Bagoong isda, salt fish. And all those who have eaten it and tasted it know it is not or ought not to be rotten. Kayo ba? Nakakain na ba kayo ng bagoong isda? And there are different kinds of bagoong. No? We have bagoong alamang, bagoong isda, and iba't ibang klaseng bagoong pa yan. So, yung bagoong isda, minsan, yun yung sasawsaw mo yung banana, yung saba sa bagoong isda. No? Kung ang bagoong alamang is good for mango, especially yung mga maasim, no? Sour mango. Bagoong isda is good for rice, for dish like pinakbet, no? Saba, sausaw mo dyan. That's what Antonio de Morga saying that we usually eat saltfish that is beginning to decompose and smell. Kasi pag inamoy mo nga naman talaga yung bagoong isda, medyo hindi maganda ang amoy niyan. Pero pag kinain mo yan, sabi nga ni Rizal, no, alam mo, no, na hindi yan pasira. Okay? Well, not everyone will like the taste of it. Eh, pero kung Pilipinong lumaki ka sa ganyang pamumuhay, you'll know. No? Rizal commits or during his annotation of Antonio de Morga, uh, there are two mistakes of Rizal. One, he commits the error of many historians in appraising the events of the past in the light of present standards. Ibig sabihin, he tried to judge or evaluate the past in the light of present standards. Siyempre, iba yung nangyari noon. Iba yung pamumuhay noon. No? Sa pamantayan na ginamit niya sa pangkasalukuyan. So, the second one, he tried to attack the church in general. Rizal's attack on the church were unfair and unjustified because the abuses of the friar should not be construed to mean that the Catholicism as a whole is bad. Ah, kasi yun ang parang tono ng pananalita ni Jose Rizal sa annotation niya na the Catholic Church as a whole is bad. So parang wag mong lahatin, no? Kasi hindi naman daw lahat ng not all the friars are abusive. Ayan. So ilan daw 'yan sa mga error ni Jose Rizal. That's just few, no? Then we have Ferdinand Blumentritt, the one who influenced Rizal to make an annotation. So he also wrote a preface emphasizing some salient points or yung mga noticeable points naman na ginawa dito. The Spaniards have to correct their erroneous conception of the Filipinos as children of limited intelligence. For the mind of the Spaniards, we lack knowledge or we are limited. No? But they have to fix or to correct those kind of expectation or thinking towards us. That there existed three kinds of Spanish delusions about the Philippines. For the Spaniards, Filipinos were an inferior race. No? Mababa daw tayong klase ng lahi. No? Filipinos were not ready for parliamentary representation and other reforms. Denial of equal rights can be compensated by strict dispensation of justice. No? So, ito yung mga dapat na ito yung actually these are the observations of Blumentritt that he thought needs to be fixed in the mind of the Spaniards. So instead of writing the preface or the prologue in German language, he wrote it in Spanish. He praised Rizal's works as scholarly and well thought out. He also noted that Morgas Sucesos was so rare that the very few libraries that have it guarded with the same solicitude as it if as if it were the treasure of the Incas. That's why they don't allow it, to be out of the library. No? And that's the reason why Rizal has to hand copied it. So also Blumentritt is the one who criticized Rizal's annotation, stating about the error of Rizal, no, and in judging or evaluating the past in the light of the present standard and excuse me. And also he's the one who told Rizal regarding the he should not generalize the whole Catholic Church as oppressive, no? Yeah. So in Rizal's dedication, he explained among other things the purpose of the new edition of this annotation. If the book succeeds in awakening in you the consciousness of our past, which has obliterated from memory and in rectifying what has been falsified and calumniated. So, if the annotation of Rizal regarding Morga's book, no, open the minds of the Filipinos, awaken them. According to Rizal, I shall not have labored in vain. And on such basis, little though it may be, we can all devote ourselves to studying the future. Sabi niya, so if I happen to awaken your mind, open your mind, no, about the condition of the Philippines, sabi niya, hindi na walang kabuluhan yung pagod niya. No? So, three propositions in Rizal's new edition in his annotation. One, the people of the Philippines had a culture of their own before coming of the Spaniards, and we have rich culture and tradition before the Spaniards came in the exena in the scenario. No? Filipinos were decimated, we were demoralized, no, we were destroyed, exploited, abused, and ruined by the Spanish colonization. No. Our life before the colonial period or the Spanish colonial period is rich, no, lively. Yeah. But when the Spaniards came in the Philippines and colonized us, that's the time where our sufferings began. The present state of the Philippines was not necessarily superior to its past. No. We can't say when the Spaniards came to the Philippines, we became prosperous. No. No, we cannot say that. According to Rizal, the present state of the Philippines was not necessarily superior to its past. No, incomparable. So, in historical essay, which he includes the narration of the Philippine colonial history, he punctuated as it was with incidences of agony, tensions, and strategies, and prolonged periods of suffering that many people had been subjected to. He correctly observed that as a colony of the Spain, the Philippines was depopulated, we were impoverished and retarded. All the bad things happened to the Philippines. The reason is because of the Spanish colonization. With no confidence in her past, still without faith in her present, and without faltering hope in the future. No. So, ito yung sinabi niya. I included here. Little by little, they or the Filipinos lost their old traditions, the mementos of their past. They gave up their writing, their songs, their poems, their laws, etc. And we adopted the colonizers' culture, thinking na okay lang. It's okay to adopt the culture and all the practices and the lifestyle of our colonizer. They decline degrading themselves in their own eyes. They become ashamed of what was their own. They began to admire and praise whatever was foreign and incomprehensible. Their spirit was damaged and it surrendered. In that part, we can apply it in the present time, wherein we know about other culture better than our own. We entertain the foreigners no culture, uh, but in our own tradition and culture, we are lacking. We don't know anything about it. We spend more time knowing or discovering other countries' culture or place than our own. No? Oo, lumaya na tayo sa mga Kastila. Yes, we were freed now in the hand of the Spaniards. But in the present, we are actually not free. Okay? Doon pa rin tayo sa alipin pa rin tayo ng ibang mga bansa. Maybe because of the way our country was run by the government. I don't know. So this is written by Rizal. To the Filipinos in my Noli Me Tangere, I commence to sketch the present conditions obtaining in our country. The effect produced by my efforts gave me to understand, before proceeding to develop before your eyes other successive scenes, that is necessary to first lay bare the past in order the better to judge the present and to survey the road trodden during 3 centuries. Sabi niya, bagay, if you want to know everything about the country, really need to go back to the past. Study it, no? So you will give importance to the to the history, no? Bago is para sa pag-aaral niya, the history of the past is very essential. Like almost all of you, according to Rizal, I was born and brought up in ignorance of our country's past, and so, without knowledge or authority to speak of what I neither saw nor have studied, I deem it is necessary to quote the testimony of an illustrious Spaniard who, in the beginning of the new era, controlled the destinies of the Philippines, and they had the personal knowledge of our ancient nationality in the last days. It is then the shade of our ancestors' civilization, which the author will call before you. If the work serves to awaken in you a consciousness of our past, this is what I mentioned earlier. If I awakened your mind about the past and to blot from your memory or to rectify what has been falsified, kung may mga naitama daw ba yung ginawa ni Rizal, yung kanyang annotation, then I shall not have labored in vain. Hindi na walang kabuluhan ang kanyang kapaguran. With this preparation, slight though it may be, we can all pass to the study of the future. Uh, So the sucesos, as annotated by Rizal, appeared for the first time in the Philippines 68 years later, after the writing of the annotation. No? When a publisher in Manila published the new work in 1958 to contribute his bit to the national effort to honor Rizal. So that's when we had a copy of the annotation. The present work is the sixth volume of the series of writings of Jose Rizal, which the Jose Rizal National Centennial Commission has now published in commemoration of his birth. So to farewell the destiny of a nation, it is necessary to open the books, or to foretell rather, to foretell the destiny of a nation. It is necessary to open the books about or that tell of her past. No? So we really need to go back in the past and to know the history of the past, ah, para malaman daw natin kung ano ang magiging hinaharap natin. No, sabi nga 'di ba, there is a saying no, ah, sino mang hindi marunong lumingon sa kanyang pinagmulan ay hindi makakarating sa kanyang paroroonan. No, so we really have to look back where we came from, what happened, no, before we evaluate or before we judge the present and the future of our country. No, so that's what Rizal did. He studied the history when he was not existing yet. No, because this would help him as a historian, no, for the basis of his studies. So may pundasyon, may pinanggalingan yung pag-aaral niya. Hindi lang siya haka-haka. He did not just guess about the past. He studied the past. Okay? So there's a basis of his studies and research in his book as well, the annotation. Okay? So that's the end of our discussion. Um, I will discuss the analysis of the letter to the young women of Malolos next meeting na lang natin. Okay, so our next meeting will be May 19. May 12 is election day. Again, there would be no classes. Okay?